Oi oi, Gary here again at Vinyl Kick. In today's video, will be the second Clash video. This time it'll be regarding the Clash's 7-inch singles. Last Clash video I done a couple of weeks ago, that was totally included their first 6 studio albums, albeit there was different variations of them. It wasn't just always the bog standard UK first releases. There was some different aspects or some different variations to each album, and I'll do a wee bit similar today with the singles. This is just a selection of singles I have. I've got a lot more than this, but I really have to chunk this because there's far too many to do in one video. So I thought today I would start with the first batch, I suppose, of Clash singles that I have. Mostly studio releases and a couple of others that aren't, but I thought I'd include them anyway because they are very interesting. So without further ado, we'll crack on, and the first ones I shall show will be their first eight studio singles from 1977 to 1979, from White Riot to London Calling. And that's quite handy. I don't need to show them all individually because in 1979 or 1980, by the time it arrived in the UK, they came in this Japanese import box set. And this includes, as I said, the first 8 Clash singles. Still get the Obi on it, nice and clean, nice box set. I bought this, I think this came out 79. I don't know when it arrived in UK. I certainly don't think it arrived in UK 79. I picked this up round about March 1980. I'm sure it was I used my birthday money, perhaps, to buy it, or Christmas money or whatever, but it was early 1980. I picked this up at Virgin Megastore in Glasgow, and that's where I purchased this. Myself and my friend both bought one each. So they're all included in here, the first 8. Without further ado, we shall open them up. So within this box set you get, in Japanese and in English, you get 2 lyric sheets covering the 8 singles. Really nice, they just fold out lyric sheets, and then as you can see quite clearly there, I hope without the sun getting in, the first 8 singles. We go White Riot, we go Remote Control, Complete Control, Clash City Rockers, White Man, Tommy Gun, English Civil War, and London Calling. Now the sleeves, there's no difference to the sleeves here than there is in the British. The sleeves are exactly the same. There's no difference. The matrix numbers are different, and I believe the matrix in these is all 44, 5P103, 110, and I believe all the 7-inch singles are the same. They're all that same matrix number. So as you can see, if we carefully take these out, and believe it or not, I've got all these in UK releases, so I've never played any of these. These are all mint condition in the box since the day I got them. I've still actually got it. It came in like a thick plastic wrapper. I've still got that as well. So for everybody that knows the Clash, will be very familiar with these. Maybe a slight colour variation in that from the UK original. Maybe that's slightly brighter, but they're exactly the same. There's no different. As we just slowly flick through them, their first 8 singles. They'll be very familiar to any Clash fans. The only one where there's a slight difference is this is White Man, where, as I'm sure you know, in the UK, I think there was 4 different sleeves. There was the green and the blue and the pink and the black one, yellow, green, blue, yellow, maybe 5 different covers of this, and they all had the centre of the sleeve was removed, so you could see the actual picture of the centre of the record. But this one's just a solid sleeve, solid blue sleeve. So whether it was released like that in Japan, I don't know. I'm not sure. But they're all exactly the same as the UK releases. The only difference is, instead of CBS, if you can see that there, don't know if you can for the sun, they're on the Epic label. And it's the Epic Sunburst label, rather than the CBS Sunburst label, as you can see there. So this box set was purchased, I think they must have sold quite a few of these. They do come up from time to time on various auction sites. Not that often, but they do come up, and it's certainly Discogs has got quite a good information on it. If you get into Discogs, they break it down quite well. There's a lot of information about this box set and how it's produced, why it's produced, where it was produced. And it was manufactured in '79 by Sony, CBS, Epic Sony in Tokyo, in Japan. And I can remember going and buying this. I was really excited and really delighted that I got it. Again, I suppose being a kid at that age in 1980, to get something like this was a wee bit special. I remember guarding it on the way home on the train. I put it inside a bag just to make sure it was okay and there was no damage or no harm would come to it. So it is a cracking wee set. I'm sure you Clash guys out there, some of you'll have it or you've seen it before or whatever. It's not that unusual for a Japanese import in the UK. But the booklets are nice, they open out and it's just basically, it gives you the A sides, the lyrics to the A sides and the B sides, which is really good, because some of the times, especially when Stummer's singing, you kind of wonder what on earth is it he's saying. But these are incredibly good. I like these, and I like the fact that I'm Japanese as well. It sort of intrigues me, Japanese writing, you know. But it's very good. So that's their first 8. They're there again. First 8 studio singles. 70, 70, 79, White Riot through to London Calling. And one very handy little box set, saved you can through them individually. I do have the UK copies of these as well, plus some other imports, which I may show in another, the imports anyway, not so much the UK copies, but the imports I may show in another video. But I thought for today, we'll go with the first 8, we'll go with the Japanese box set, and that's like a really good way to kick off the Clash singles. So the first one then, I'll just box this back up quite quickly and set it to the side, move the obi over, and there we go. White Riot through to London Calling in a nice wee Japanese box set, and that's a good way to kick off the introduction to the Clash 7-inch singles. So shortly after London Calling came out, they put out the Cost of Living EP, which had I Fought the Law, Groovy Times, Gates of the West, and Capital Radio. Gatefold sleeve, as you can see. This, when it came out at first, I remember when this came out at first, I was just thinking about that when this came out at first. It came out between sort of London Calling and Sandinista, and I remember that the I Fought the Law tune was played quite a lot, especially around about the sort of kind of school discos and whatever, and everybody loved it. A lot of people bought this at one specifically into the Clash in my area, and this was quite a big seller down my way. I remember the local record shop actually selling out of this. I don't know if that's true for the rest of the UK or the rest of Scotland or whatever, but certainly down my way, the local record shop actually sold out of this. And I get this copy for, I bought this, my friend's brother bought it, and I bought it off of him for 50 pence more than the cover price. That's the only way I could get a copy, because the local shop was totally sold out. So you know, worth paying the extra 50. I suppose 50p back in the day was quite a bit of money, or whatever it was, or 30p or whatever it was. But it was certainly worth it to get a hold of it. And this has got obviously the inside, the mock-up of the Financial Times with the pink paper, and then you've got the picture of just 3 of the guys in the back there, as you can see as well, playing. It looks like a table football, so it does. I think Simon, and that's Simon is missing from that, and unless that's him, but no, so yeah, Paul's missing from that one. And I like the middle of this with sort of the kind of speedometer. I think that's fantastic. It looks like they've done a lot of speedometer. I actually need to give this one a wee clean. But this was one of my, I Fought the Law again was one of my favourite Clash songs. I know it's a cover, but it's a very, very good song, and they do it really well. Also, on this album was also I like the Capital Radio single as well. In fact, I like them all, but it's a really good wee EP, 7-inch EP. The gatefold sleeve, a crowd for one of their gigs there. Indeed it is. And the back cover, nice and clean copy. And it just shows you the track listing and whatever else they decided to put on it. So for 1979, we had the cost of living peanuts. You've got a cost, and then how apt's that? Because now there's obviously, how apt is that? Because now there's a cost of living crisis going on, and you've got for 1979, we were still talking about the cost of living even back then, all those years ago. So there you go. Number 2 in today's pile is The Clash with the Cost of Living EP. Next one I'm going to show you is another import, and this is the Magnificent 7-inch, and this is a French import of this. Now I have this UK 12-inch, and I think I may have the UK 7-inch as well, and I've got some other imports 7-inches of this, which I'll show in another video. But this was a French pressing, again on CBS, in the green cover with the related wheel. I believe the Dutch pressing's similar, but it might be a different colour in the front, and I think there's a German pressing as well, with similar covers. And in the back you can see they're advertising the album Sandinista quite clearly. We open this up, it's a wee while since I've had this one out actually. We open this up, and it's on the CBS, the brown CBS, which was the usual for CBS in France, usually solid. They didn't use the sunburst. In France, it was usually a solid cover in the middle. It was either this sort of browny colour or a sort of kind of grey colour. And it's a lot of European records, no centre. So that's a French copy of that. The Magnificent 7 with the B-side, the Magnificent Dance. Nice clean copy as well. I've had this for a good number of years. It comes with sleeves. It's not like one of the sleeves you would get, and you get sort of thick card sleeve, which is really nice. And I'd like to, there's most dates in the back, and it's in French and stuff in the bottom, but they do a track listing for Sandinista as well, which is in English, but the production and all the stuff is in French, and my French is not very good at all. So number 3 in the list for today is the French import of the Magnificent 7-inch with the really light cover, which is very different for the UK release, the cover in the UK release. Next one, something a wee bit different, not a bog standard release, and this was a interview picture disc. I'm not even sure, it plays at 33 this. Now this was later, I'm not sure, but this was after Mick Jones left, I'm sure it was, and I think the interview is basically talking about that, about Mick leaving, because there's only Paul and Joe in the back there, and just looking at the sort of, well, you can guess the way they look. It's obviously further on into the career, because Summer had this sort of blondish, dirty blonde mohawk, kind of round about the time, that sort of time. So I'm sure it's a while since I'm listening to this, but I'm sure it's been the way the Clash were going forward and how they were going to reform the band and restructure the band, and what sort of musical direction they were going to be taking. So it's just simply, it's a limited edition interview picture disc, and it's simply called Talking to the Clash, and it plays at 33. I'm not even sure how long it lasts, because it is that long since I've listened to it. But again, as picture does go, it's not the best. I mean, it's okay, you know exactly what it is, but who's on it, so you can't deny it's a Clash picture disc. But yeah, I thought I'd show that, because I think this is quite an unusual one, an interview picture disc. I think I might have a Bowie one as well. I don't, what's that? Yeah, okay, I bought it, right, okay, so there must be, I must have seen some point at the time, but now I'm thinking, but I don't really get them, interview records, interviewing people. Fair enough, you know, if somebody think they can make a buck out of it or whatever by interviewing the band and selling it, yeah, then sure, fair enough. But I suppose it's something to have. I'd rather have it than not have it, but I certainly wouldn't give it away in the future to buy an interview vinyl, you know, a record that was just an interview with someone. I don't think I would bother. But there we go, that's only one of, I've got a Bowie one, this is only one of these I've got. Other than the Bowie one, so there you go, an interview picture this for the Clash. I'm not sure what year this would be. You'd be looking, I don't know, kind of early 80s or something. Certainly I think this came out just before Cut the Crab came out, but I may be wrong. And now we'll go on to one of my favourite Clash singles of the latter years. As the Clash as we all know them, you know, the four with Strummer, Jones, Simon and Topper. And this is Know Your Rights. I absolutely love this single, Know Your Rights. And it's probably my favourite from the Combat Rock album. The B-side, First Night Back in London's a good tune as well, I think. But I absolutely love this. This is out in picture disc as well, and I've always tried to pick it up and never been. It's always been out bid or whatever. But it's a cracking record. I love the red star in the middle with the Bible with the gun in the middle. That's a very Clash centre, I would say. In the B-side here is just basically giving you a description of what's on the record. But I've still got the sticker with it, and I was never tempted to stick this somewhere. Like loads of other guys said this, my mates and that, I bought this sticker was immediately stuck on something, the room door usually. But like with all the other, the same with Shoulda Stay or Shoulda Go, where the stickers came with that, or any Bowie, actually stashes with Bowie, you get stickers with that as well. Cut the Crap for stickers with, I think Love Kills, and maybe stickers as well with Strummer solo single, but I kept them all. Kept it intact, sticker's still there. Whether it's still adhesive and would still stick to this day, who knows? I don't know, but anyway, I'll not be trying it out to see. There it is, intact, the vinyl and sticker, intact. Know Your Rights, and the Know Your Rights sticker. Very important to know your rights, I would say, in this day and age. So, Shoulda Stay or Shoulda Go, this is a slightly different copy. This was the Levi's one, and this was pure commercialisation, if ever there was. You had the Clash on one side, and you had Big Audio Dynamite 2, the second incarnation of Big Audio Dynamite, and the B-side doing their song Rush, and the Clash's Shoulda Stay or Shoulda Go, which was used in the 501 advert. On the other side, split single, out in Colombia, and you've got double A side, and you've got Bad 2, with Rush on that side, and the Clash with Shoulda Stay or Shoulda Go on that side. This was obviously a reissue, and it came out way after the original came out, 1990 I believe. That's what I think I'm looking at actually, 1991 I think. I'm sure it says 90 there, it's in the label. So I'm sure it was 1990 or 1991 this came out, obviously well after the original came out, on the back of the success of the song on the Levi's advert. And you can see, obviously, let's get the Levi's tab there next to the 8-ball. I'm not sure if that cover there, the 8-ball, was a cover of the American issue. Shoulda Stay or Shoulda Go, I'm not actually sure. But this was a wee bit different. This was picked this up at like a bargain bin. So it was a second hand. Well, it was second hand when I bought it. One of those bargain bins in a record shop, and I just picked up. It wasn't something I went out my way to buy, but when you see something in one of those bargain bins and it's not too expensive, then you tend to pick them up. And I did with this. Big change to the Big Audio Dynamite line up there on the back as well. You know, Don Letts is away, Don Donovan's away. I don't know who these guys are, the new guys, but anyway. So there we go. A wee change to the on Shoulda Stay or Shoulda Go. And the final one they done before Mick Jones left was the Rock the Casbah with the B-side Long Time Jerk. And this is just, there's no difference to this. This is the bog standard UK issue from 1982 or 1983, whenever it was. They're still on CBS at the time. The last single ever for CBS. And I liked Rock the Casbah. I know it was very commercial, and a lot of the kind of maybe the Clash, the traditional Clash fans or the hardcore Clash fans, thought it was a total sellout. Make some money before you separate or split. But I really like it. I like Combat Rock as an album. I know it's a very commercial. It's a pop song. Rock the Casbah's a pop song. You couldn't really call it anything other than that. But I really like it. Let That Ragga Drop, it says in the another stummer saying you can get that in a t-shirt. Let That Ragga Drop. Probably somebody has put it in a t-shirt and made a t-shirt out of that. But Rock the Casbah, good single, the last single for CBS and the last of the Clash as we know them, the original lineup as such. I'm not sure if Topper was still involved in, or maybe he was not very well at the time and he'd brought in the other guy in drums. I'm not sure, but anyway, that was the last 7-inch before they split, and the last one for as a band as a whole for CBS before they went their separate ways. So the final one I've got to show you something a wee bit different, and it's a song from the Sandinista album, and this is if anybody can help me with this, I'll tell you what I get told about it when I got it, and if anybody can enlighten me or help me with this, then I would love to know. So I hope you can see that. So this is a flexi disc. of the Rebel Waltz from Sandinista album. And it's actually just in a little, it's a very small, it must only have about, it's certainly not 7-inch. I mean, I don't know, that's maybe about 4, maybe 5. And that's it, and it's one song, and it's Rebel Waltz. It's one-sided flexi disc of the Rebel Waltz from the Sandinista album. And as you can see, if you can see down there, there is either Russian or Ukrainian writing. Now, I say either Russian or Ukrainian because I've got 2 different versions of where this came from. If you go on Discogs, believe it or not, this is on Discogs. So it is. They have a note yet, but they have very limited information. All they say is it's a Russian bootleg release of this single. Now, when I bought it from and I mentioned him before in the first video, a guy who used to live, who's from this area originally, used to live in this area, went to London, come back here then, he still lives in Spain now, but he had a massive, I mean, he was a Clash super fan if there is such a thing. He had all sorts of stuff, not just vinyl Clash, but he had loads and loads and loads of stuff for the Clash memorabilia. He'd met the band, he had autographs, he had all sorts of stuff. And I asked him about this, and he said it wasn't Russian, it was actually Ukrainian. And the deal with it was there was a chain of record shops in Ukraine, and they were going to give so many of these away. He reckoned 30 of these away. The first 30 people that bought Sandinista were going to get this flexi disc, and all they were going to do was put the flexi disc in the shrink wrap with Sandinista. It didn't come originally with this cover. This was made up by somebody else, and he reckoned that was the story. There was the first 30 people that bought Sandinista in this record shop somewhere in Ukraine. I assume to be Kyiv, but it might not have been. We're going to get this flexi disc, and it would have been in with the shrink wrap, but for whatever reason, legally or whatever, they weren't allowed to do that. So they had 30 of these flexi discs. They knocked up this cover, and they sold them as just the 30 as bootlegs. And I believe it's incredibly collectible. The guy that I spoke about, who was originally from this area, Clash Man as we call him, he had 2 of these, and before he moved to Spain, I bought some stuff. His collection, he was thinning out his collection before he immigrated, and he was lucky enough I get this and some other things off him as well. Some Clash stuff, and punk stuff. So that was the story with that, and that's what he told me. But you go into Discogs, it says Russian press. From my person I knew, it was a Ukrainian press, and that was the story behind it. Now, he wasn't 100% that story was correct. That's what he had get told at the time. When he got this, he reckons it's for around about 9. He reckons it was produced, or the cover was changed about a year after the flexi disc was produced, and he decided to try and make some money in the selling the because there's only 30 of these. The Clash are massive, so and he'd 2 of them, so that you know, they obviously were trying to maximise their profit with these wee guys. Whether they did or not, I don't know, but if anybody knows any different or can shed any more light on this 5-inch Rebel Waltz flexi disc from Ukraine / Russia. I'd rather it was obviously what's going on today in the world. I'd rather hope it was Ukraine, but we shall see. It could be whatever, I don't know. But if anybody knows any more, then I would be delighted to know, because that is the story I was told. I can only go with what the guy told me, but if anybody knows more or can share any more light on it, then I would absolutely love to hear. So that would be great. Thank you very much. Anyway, that is the first episode of the 7-inch singles. The second, that's part 2, round 2 of the Clash. I'll do another one where I'll do some bootlegs and some other imports, because I've got loads of them. Hopefully it'll not take as long as this. So there we go, the Clash, round 2. Tune in for round 3 soon. Stay free, you guys.